It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're bound. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep your things inside your ears just like the waves and sound it. And just say whatever, cause there is no way you're grounded. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
I like my girls just like I like my honey. Sweet, little selfish. I like my women like I like my money. Green, a little jealous. Cause I'm a beautiful wreck, a colorful mess, but I'm funny. Oh, I'm a heartbreak bed with a stone cold neck, yeah, I'm charming. All the pretty girls in the world, but I'm in this space with you. Call it out the lines again to find my fire was fade with you. Heart it will stay with you. Fly great escapes with you. I count down to the clock, say you away. Don't walk away, or would you wait for me? I go out to the bar for...
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the ACC and OYAC's Fighting for Our Futures Youth-Led Candidate Forum. I want to thank y'all for joining us live today via the YouTube live stream. ACC and OYAC have joined forces to put this event together, and it's going to be lit. We named this event Fighting for Our Futures because it just really describes the uncertain times we're living in right now as youth. It seems like we have to fight for every little thing, from ethnic studies to the right to not be brutalized by the police, from climate change policies, and to protecting our public health and safety during this pandemic. This is our time, and I just want to appreciate ACC for all the love and support you've shown to OYAC while planning this event, as well as everyone else who's helped us put this together. I want to send thanks to all the candidates who have graciously agreed to join us today, and also sending thanks to the audience for being here and getting informed and wanting to be engaged in the local election. My name is Anaya Story. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a commissioner with the Oakland Youth Advisory Commission. I'm also a youth leader at Californians for Justice and a junior at Oakland High School, which is obviously the best high school. The Oakland Youth Advisory Commission is an appointed governing body made up of Oakland youth, and we advocate for youth voice in City Hall. I'm excited to be your MC today, and even though we can't vote, youth can still organize and hold candidates accountable and make sure that our voices are heard. I hope y'all are ready for the excellent questions we have in store today. I'll now pass it on to my fellow MC, Lauren.
Hey guys, thank you so much, Anaya. Hey everyone, thank you for being here. I'm Lauren McDaniels and I'm 14 years old. I'm here representing All City Council as their historian and representing Oakland Tech as a sophomore. All City Council is an elected body that serves as a bridge between Oakland students and adult decision makers in the school board. I am very proud to be a part of all this and especially Oakland. One thing I love about Oakland is that it's like one big family. I'm proud to be with all of you today because Oakland students have come together across the city to show our voices and what matters to the candidates. Since this is a live forum, we want everyone to be mindful and respectful. And what are some ground rules that we should have, Anaya?
Well, Lauren, I think we should start with some of the community agreements that will help us create a safe space, making sure we have respectful communication, respecting everyone's time, and speaking your own truth.
I totally agree, Anaya. I would add that we're all here to learn and to empower the youth. This is a youth forum. Shout out to all the youth. By the way, this entire event is youth-led, youth-hosted, youth-moderated, and has youth performers. So give it up to the youth. Let's make sure we have fun today.
And before this event, we asked all of you questions you'd want to ask the school board and city council candidates. We chose the top 4 questions for each panel, which will also be led by youth moderators. Also, we will be giving away raffle prizes, so stay throughout the event and you may get a chance to win a gift card. You must be present to win. After both panels, we will be having a vote. This is very, very important. So make sure that all attendees will fill out this Google survey and to rank your favorite candidates for each open seat from first to last. So please make sure you're paying attention to what the panelists have to say. Take out your pen and a piece of paper and take down some notes. All right, let's take a moment to see who's joining us today. In the comments, tell us your name, the school and community organization you represent, and tell us why you came today.
And if y'all can, share the link for this live event on your social media channels. Please do so right now. Let's spread the word to as many people in Oakland as we can.
Thank you, Lauren. Before we start, I'm going to introduce a longtime organizer and community activist who has supported youth voice and power for years. Please allow me to introduce Sagnite Salazar, who is an educator and transformative justice practitioner who has graciously agreed to lead us in the land acknowledgement to pay our respects to land we're on. Give it up.
Hi, my name is Sagnite Salazar. I am a first-generation migrant from Tenochtitlan, now known as Mexico, and raised in Uchin, now known as Oakland. And I'm honored to ground us in our first source of life and power, our Mother Earth, and specifically the land that we stand on, Uchin land. In a time where our air, our water, our sacred sites, our lands are under attack, it is especially important for us to stop, to touch the earth, to give thanks to the trees, to give thanks to the four-legged, the winged, the fin, the scaled, the critters, the moss, to all sources of life that are the first caretakers of the land that we stand on. And also to the first two-legged people that are the caretakers of this land, the Ohlone people. It's important for us to give thanks for the land's resilience and the energy of resistance that teaches us on a day-to-day. I'd like to ground us with a song from the Pomo people. Pomo are the native people of Northern California, and this song is a song for medicine, for us to be able to continue our traditional ways, and medicine for our people to be able to continue our work of resistance. Way-ya, 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 ya, way-ya, way-ya, way-ya. Way-ya, 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 ya, way-ya, way-ya, way-ya. Henema, 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 henema. Way-ya, 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 ya, way-ya, way-ya, way-ya. Way-ya, 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 ya, way-ya, way-ya, way-ya. Henema, Way ya, way ya, way ya. Ya, way ya, way ya, way ya. Way ya, way ya, way ya. Ya, way ya, way ya, way ya. Henema, 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 henema. Way ya, way ya, way ya. Ya, way ya, way ya, way ya. Way ya, way ya, way ya. Ya, way ya, way ya, way ya. Henema, 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 henema. Ooh. With that, all power to the people.
I just want to say thank you, Santi, so much for your powerful words and grounding us in gratitude. And I just really appreciate you being here. I'll go ahead and read a few comments to see who's in the house with us today. So we have Leilon. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but I'm going to say your first one. She said, hello, this is Leilon from OUSD Office of Equity APISA program. Thanks for hosting this forum. And thank you, Leilon, for commenting.
Yes, we also got Lynn from Ojai, also part of All City Council. Thanks for being here.
And then another one that we got was from Sochi from All City Council saying, hey, go Elmhurst. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you made it. I'm going to pass it on now to Barrett Valentine from OYAC to ground us in the reasons we are here today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Barrett. I am a fellow member of the Oakland Youth Advisory Commission and a lifelong Oakland resident. Even though we're in a big election year, local elections really matter, especially if Measure QQ passes, which will allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in school board elections. Local elections are where important decisions get made about spending and services. Collectively, youth are used to being told we are too young to have a voice or that our opinions don't matter because of our age. Yet our lives are the ones most directly affected by the choices made about our schools and how we get to and from schools by adults every day. Not only that, the opportunities and resources we receive at this age will follow us for the rest of our lives into our careers or college educations. We are learning how to use our voices, and we are leading the way in many movements to create real change. Members of the Oakland Youth Advisory Commission and OUSD's All City Council have worked tirelessly over the past few months creating this event because we know we have a unique perspective that adults have forgotten all about. From climate change to public safety, youth are impacted by all of the decisions being made for us. Right now, we have no ability to choose our future representatives, but we can strengthen our voices and organize together. And we need all of you who are eligible to vote to cast your ballot this November with our opinions in mind. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Barrett. Super powerful words, great message. Now we will begin the Oakland City Council candidate panel. There are 11 candidates on this panel, and we have two of our very own skilled youth moderators from the Oakland Youth Advisory Commission. So please allow me to introduce Benjamin Salep and Athena Muhammad.
Thank you, Lauren. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Athena Muhammad. I'm a junior at the Head Royce School and one of your moderators today. Oakland is my home, so ensuring the safety, education, and well-being of our youth is my #1 priority. I'm looking forward to moderating with Ben and hearing what these promising candidates have to say.
Hey, everyone. My name is Benjamin. I'm also a junior of Tech in Oakland Tech. I'm passionate about youth voice in government, and I believe in representing leadership. I'm excited to help moderate this panel with Athena to help connect youth with our elected officials. Thank you all for joining us. So before we introduce our panels, let's go over some guidelines. Due to time constraints, we will strictly adhere to set time limits. Each candidate can use their entire time. We will have to mute anyone who goes over their time to keep everything on track. Our peer advisor, Sophie, will hold up a yellow sign on her screen to indicate that you have 15 seconds remaining. Not every candidate will answer every question. Every candidate will have a chance to answer a minimum of 3 questions. The order that the candidates will be asked the questions has been randomly pre-selected. And remember, this is not a debate. Candidates will not have a chance to respond or have a discussion with other candidates. Audience members may submit follow-up questions at the end of the forum, and candidates make a video with their answers and will post them on our social media pages before the election. Now, for all of you watching, if you hear something that you agree with, enjoy, or maybe even disagree with throughout this panel, type it in the chat. We want to hear what you're all thinking.
Thanks, Ben. Once you read the question, we will call the names of candidates to respond, at which point you may unmute yourselves. We will begin the timer when you speak. Now, let's introduce our Oakland City Council candidates. When we call your name, please turn on your camera and wave to the audience. Joining us today, we have from District 1 candidates, Dan Cow, Stephanie Dominguez-Walton, and Try No. Our District 3 candidate, Carol Fife. District 5 candidates, Noel Gallo and Richard Santos Raya. For District 7, we have candidates Marcy Hodge, Treva Reed, and Marshawn Topman. And our at-large candidates, we have current council presidents Rebecca Kaplan and candidate Derek Johnson.
First, we will begin with question 1, where every candidate will have 45 seconds to introduce themselves. We will call your names in order of districts and by alphabetical first names. When we call on you, please unmute yourself and share your response. Please tell us, why are you running for City Council? Why are you the best candidate to represent Oakland youth? And if elected, what would you do to support the success of every youth in Oakland in your first 100 days in office? First off, candidate Dan Cow, District 1.
There we go. Hi, thanks so much for inviting all of us today. I know we only have a limited amount of time, so I'll get right to answering your important questions. Really appreciate it. I'm running, I've been on the council for 8 years, and I'm running because I have the experience and the proven record of accomplishments to continue to be an effective council member for District 1 and all of Oakland. I'm very proud of the work I've done when it comes to protecting renters. I've also been very engaged in youth leadership issues. In fact, prior to being on the council, I was on the Youth Leadership Task Force for the Oakland Fund for Children and Youth as a volunteer. And now as a council member, I'm promoting a robust OFCY, Oakland Fund for Children and Youth. And one of the things that I've been focusing on in that is to make sure that we are funding restorative justice programs, whether it's through our school.
Okay, thank you, candidate Cow. Candidate Stephanie Dominguez-Walton from District 1, your response.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are making me smile. I'm so impressed with the way you're running this thing already. It is a pleasure to be here with you. And my name is Steph Dominguez-Walton. I'm running for City Council because conditions have gotten worse in the city over the last 8 years, not better. Our unhoused population is skyrocketing, and the city doesn't have real solutions in place to tackle that crisis. Effective leaders have vision and inspire others to act. And I am that leader for District 1 and for Oakland. My vision is for everyone to have a home, for our students to have equity in education and food security, and our communities to be safe and healthy. I have a proven track record working with people from all walks of life in business and in the community. And it would be my honor to serve you on the council. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Dominguez-Walton. Next up, candidate Try No.
I can't seem to start my video. Hey guys, can you hear me? I can't see. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're
okay.
not. Yeah. Okay.
No worries. We got it. Hi, my name is Try No. I'm 36 years old, the youngest candidate in this race. I'm running to create an Oakland of love and belonging through a local government that includes every single voice. My focus is on solving homelessness, ensuring affordable housing for all residents, and reimagining public safety so that it focuses on the root causes of violence in our communities. To create a local government that includes every voice, I'm the only candidate that limits my campaign contributions to $35 per person, and I want to create an online voting platform to allow all residents to weigh in on council votes. I would love to serve you as your next council member, and thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you, candidate No. Candidate Carol Fife from District 3, you're next.
Hi, I appreciate this opportunity. I always love being in relationship with young people, so thank you for your time. My name is Carol Fife. I'm the director of the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, and we are a grassroots member-led organization that fights for the people. It's made up of the people, and that's why I'm the best candidate that's running for my particular, because I'm a protector, a defender, a mother, and an organizer. And I plan on organizing to get the services and the resources and the reality that we need and we deserve. Right now, we don't have it because people are beholden to existing power structures that don't serve our needs. And I want to change that. I want to be an organizer in chief and create the type of unity that we need in our city to get what we deserve. That's why I'm running.
Thank you, candidate Fife. Next up from District 5, candidate Noel Gallo.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to join you this afternoon. I grew up here in East Oakland. I attended the local schools. My daughters graduated from Oakland High School. My son from Fremont High School. We're all graduates of UC Berkeley, Stanford, and continue our role in education. I served on the Oakland Board of Education for 20 years. So certainly I know the Oakland Public Schools extremely well. Helped develop many schools from Fremont High School, Castlemont, Glenview Elementary, and so forth. And I'm a strong supporter of the youth vote at the City Council. We introduced it and passed it, as well as I believe that every commission in the City of Oakland should have a youth as a representative to serve on it, to give us your opinion.
Okay, thank you, candidate Gallo. Next, we have candidate Richard Santos Raya from District 5. Your response.
Hey there, thank you all. So I'm running because I'm motivated by an urgency, the same urgency that I feel really motivates a lot of our today's young people, which is, issues like climate change, police brutality. These are systemic issues that need new solutions because they've been plaguing us for literally centuries now, right? So we need to shake things up and try something new. I'm currently an educator. I have classroom experience. And for me, every relationship, especially with youth, has to be reciprocal, right? I think we're lucky that we already have the Youth Advisory Commission right now. I don't see why I think a council member should have monthly meetings at minimum with the Youth Advisory Commission to get that consistent input with our next generation of leaders who have their finger really on the issue of all the issues that are facing Oakland. So.
Thank you, candidate Raya. Now from District 7, candidate Marcy Hodge.
I just got on. Is this introduction? Okay,
yeah.
Great.
All
right, thank you. Oh, is there a question?
Yeah. If you could tell us why you're running for city council, why you're the best candidate to represent Oakland youth, and if elected, what would you do to support the success of Oakland youth?
Okay, great. Yes, my name is Marcy Hodge, and I am running for the Oakland City Council 7th seat. And I am a lifelong resident here from the city of Oakland, born and raised specifically in East Oakland. I attended all of the public schools from Sobrani Park, King Estates, and graduated from high school because I knew that all my successes were here in the belly of the city of Oakland and the Bay Area. I never left. I stayed here, even opened up businesses once I graduated from college. Because of that, and I understand the intimate understanding of being on a school board, I represented the Peralta Community Colleges, and my brother also served as the Oakland Unified School District member representative for District 7. And so my concern is always.
Okay, thank you, candidate Hodge. Next, we have candidate Treva Reed from District 7.
Thank you, youth leaders. My name is Treva. I'm an overcomer, an advocate, a community leader, a youth mentor, and a mother. And I'm running to lead transformative and sustained change in Oakland. I fight for families like mine who've endured the deep trauma of losing loved ones to gun violence, overcoming housing instability, food insecurity, unemployment, relying on deeply affordable housing, having been faced with domestic abuse. I champion those issues and more, serving with several organizations to uplift and advocate for our youth empowerment. I serve on the board of EOYDC to support youth academic success and leadership program. I serve as the board president of community education partnerships to increase opportunities for our unhoused and highly mobile youth. I serve with Youth Alive, the Crucibles Advisory, and many youth commissioners on the measures QQY and Prop 18 to move the voice of youth forward. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, candidate Reed. Candidate Marshawn Tapman, your response?
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Marshawn Tapman, and I'm running for the open seat council member for District 7. And one of the reasons why I'm running is because I'm running for you guys. I am a youth. I'm from this neighborhood. I understand the challenges that we face trying to make it out. I want to make sure that you guys have a role model, somebody you can lean on, somebody who will provide you internship, externships, fellowship opportunities, someone who will be there in your corner to help you progress in life. Because I share some of these same similarities growing up and coming out of East Oakland, I feel I'm the most fit to lead us into the next generation with the young leaders behind me, getting you guys ready for the future. my first 100 days, and throughout my duration, I plan on meeting with you guys monthly and actually having a couple intern positions.
Okay, thank you, Candidate Johnson. Candidate Rebecca Kaplan at large, your response.
Oh, I didn't speak.
Oh, candidate Derek Johnson at large. You can go first then.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for having me here. As a native, I'm born and raised in Oakland, proud graduate of Bishop O'Dowd High School. I have employed the youth for many, many years. I participated in the city's internship program, OSUD's, Oakland Public Schools internship program, where I have participated in their culinary as someone to come in, teach culinary skills to the Ralph J. Bunch School. And I would continue to do that. When I get in the seats, I will make sure that we have internships and we have jobs for our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Johnson. And finally, Candidate Rebecca Kaplan.
Good afternoon. My name's Rebecca Kaplan. I'm your council member at large, and I'm asking for your support so we can continue to work together to put our progressive values into action. It has been such an honor to stand in solidarity with you to fight for vital needs for our community. Thank you for asking me to bring the youth vote ballot measure. I'm thrilled that we were able to author that, get that on the ballot. Please vote yes on Measure QQ to let young people have a say in their future. Also, when restorative justice programs were about to be decimated at OUSD, I brought a budget action through council to save those programs. And even on the tense issue of police oversight, I authored Measure S1 for independent police oversight and negotiated it to a unanimous vote of council. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking further.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Now we will move on to the 3 pre-selected candidate questions. These questions were generated by asking youth to send us questions for the candidates via our IG stories or our OYAC and ACC accounts. Because of the time constraints, we will not be able to accept live questions from the audience. However, we encourage everyone listening to take notes so you can choose your favorite candidates at the end. And there will be an opportunity later to submit your questions to candidates for them to answer in a recorded video. We have randomly selected the order that the candidates will be asked the question, and we will allot 1 minute for each speaker. And we will call the names of speakers who unmute themselves. When you begin to speak, we will start the timer. You have the entirety of the 1 minute to express your opinions and respond to the question. We will not mute you until that 1 minute is up, and then we will move on to the next speaker. Now, our second question is, this pandemic has shown that the city of Oakland is unprepared to provide enough resources and services for vulnerable students and families. How would you address the lack of access to critical resources for the Oakland community? For our first candidate is Carol Fife from District 3. Your response?
I think I just got let back in as a panelist. I blanked out for a second. So I apologize, but I need the question.
Okay, sure. So the first question, or our first pre-selected question is, this pandemic has shown that the city of Oakland is unprepared to provide enough resources and services for vulnerable students and families. How would you address the lack of access to critical resources for the Oakland community?
I believe that all power is with the people and that we have to be able to take care of ourselves. I truly believe that we take care of us. And if we rely and ultimately just wait on elected officials and people in power positions to take care of us, then we will have exactly what we see. So I'm very active in community organizations that make sure that people have access to food, people have access to healthcare, people have access to different resources while we push for our government to provide what our taxes actually pay for. So I believe that we have to do for self. I think we have to be self-determined people. Power is the ability to define phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. That was Minister Huey P. Newton. And we have to create that while we're pushing our electeds to do what we need. I'm proud to say that I've worked with progressive city council members for the last several years to make sure that we have that happen. But we've got to get the right folks on the city council so we don't have to.
Thank you, Candidate Fife. Next, Candidate Marcy Hodge, your response?
Yes, it's unfortunate that there are the disparities that we do have within the city. Of course, that is mimicked throughout the United States and worldwide. But we have to ensure that we, continue to lobby for more money for access to accessibility for PPP, healthcare, so on and so forth, and maintaining stability with shelter. But it's also important to educate our community in terms of preparing for disasters. Through that, we can move to eradicating the displacement of individuals who have been displaced because of the pandemic, and also trying to create some balance with access to healthcare. And so I think it's a combination of the city looking for more funding, educating, and eradicating the imbalance of the disparities that we have, unfortunately, throughout the city.
Thank you, Candidate Hodge. Candidate Richard Santos Raya from District 5, same question.
Yeah, thank you. This has been really difficult to see happen and I'm sad that we as a city feel so unprepared in the face of this crisis. And I think not only outside of, securing more PPE, securing more funds, going to the county, going to the state, I think there are other solutions that could have us feeling more prepared in the long term. Tech companies have pledged us laptops. There's these resources out there, but the city, to keep its own costs down, often only hires people at part-time or temporary measures, which means that our own city workers' capacity to do the logistics to get these resources out to people is completely understaffed. So I think one of the first things that we as a city need to do is shore up our own institutional capacity to deliver those resources, so we don't have resources just floating around out in the ether that aren't being sent. I don't want to be stuck in a city that has to rely on nonprofits and other groups to bridge the gap. We should be able to serve our students on our own too. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Raya. Next, Candidate Steph Walton.
Thanks so much. So what Candidate Fife just described in terms of organizing the community and looking out for one another and making sure that we're getting what we need in the way of food and healthcare. I've been doing that for 31 weeks in this pandemic, delivering food through Oakland Unified School District to food insecure families who don't have access to transportation, who may have an immunocompromised family member who can't get out to a grab and go center. I've watched it go from 2 meals a day, 6 days a week, through philanthropic donations and other involvement in the community, a robust food program that is 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, family meals included. The food bank is now involved. That's Oakland, and that's power. I organized a supper program for children who were going without at a Title I school, which was later expanded throughout the entire district. And I can't wait to do more of that to make sure that everybody has a chance to have a full belly and a shot at succeeding in their education. Thanks.
Thank you, Candidate Dominguez Walton. Next, we have Candidate Rebecca Kaplan at large. Your response?
Thank you so much for this. It is absolutely essential that we expand the efforts to protect our communities. Some of the things that the council has voted for so far that we help fight for include free Wi-Fi for our hard-hit communities, because lack of adequate access to internet is undermining access to everything in this environment. We put out funding for small local business support through our ethnic chambers and through Oakland Frontline Healers. I also fought for increased funding for Meals on Wheels and the OUSD program, but we need more than that. And so one of the steps that I fought for in the budget this year is to start shifting away from the police department the handling of mental health calls. When people are in mental health distress and we send someone with a gun, but who doesn't have mental health training, it often ends up really badly. It also costs a lot more. So we're working to launch civilian mental health responders. That will allow us to better serve the community, but it will also save money. And we're going to continue to fight for more expansion of our community programs.
Thank you, Candidate Kaplan. Next, Candidate Treva Reed.
Thank you. Yes, I serve with over 10 organizations now and will continue to be at the table with community, with youth, with faith organizations to ensure that our budget priorities are aligned with community-driven values and needs, keeping our employees working, maintaining the critical services, demanding equitable resources for our students, for our seniors, for our vulnerable populations, for our essential workers, for those community groups that are working on the ground, doing critical work to keep people safe, healthy, and alive, advocating for increased funding and creating a community grant fund, which we've lifted up through the Black Cultural Zone, through BWAPA, Black Women Organized for Political Action, where I'm a state policy advisor, and greenlining a fund which would allow $100 million to support small businesses, nonprofits, artists, entrepreneurs, working, as it was just said, to reallocate OPD's budget to workforce, to housing, to mental health care and food security programs for students and families, working to pass Measure 15 to redirect that $700 million annually back into our schools and communities, working to ensure.
Okay, thank you, Candidate Reed. Candidate Dan Cowell, District 1, same question.
Thank you. Whether it's getting more financial resources for our city so we can do more for our youth, that includes Prop 15 and includes the measure that I wrote 2 years ago to increase the real estate transfer tax on properties that sell for over $2 million, or whether it's making sure we're focusing what we do have to make sure our youth are protected during the emergency or even beyond the emergency, before, during, and after. One of the things that I have been a strong supporter of and active leader on are protections for renters, our eviction moratorium, other strong protections for renters, both past, present, and future. We need to pass Prop 21 in addition to Prop 15 to add more protection so we can protect those who are here. And we also have to help our small businesses and the employees at our small businesses. That's why I co-sponsored the effort to increase sick leave for our employees throughout the city. Much more we need to do, and I will work hard to continue that effort, whether it's the volunteer work that we need to recruit more volunteers for the food bank, Meals on Wheels, and promoting both those organizations, or the other work we need to do to make sure our youth.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll move on to our third question, and that is recently.
Question.
We're going to be having some of the candidates each answer a different question. So only about 7 out of the 11 will answer each one.
Got it. Okay.
Now, our third question is, recently, Oakland residents have seen an uptick in crime. There were 15 homicides last September and 70 this year. If you could reprioritize city funding, how would you restructure public safety for Oakland residents who feel the most impacted by policing or least served by the police? First up, candidate Tri No from District 1.
Thanks. Every life in our community is valuable, and I'm frustrated that some lives continue to matter more than others. The uptick in crime is probably connected to the extra stress of the pandemic on communities that were already distressed. So I will fund programs like Operation Ceasefire, a program that proactively reaches out to folks at risk of being involved in gun violence. And there's data that it works. I also support the Macro program, which sends trained mental health workers instead of armed officers to de-escalate mental health crises. And I'm going to hold government accountable to getting that program implemented quickly. And finally, we have to ask, why is crime higher in some communities rather than others? And we need to address the root causes in the lack of economic and educational opportunities in those communities.
Thank you, Candidate No. Candidate Derek Johnson, at large, your response.
Yes, well, first and foremost, I support Barack Obama's former president's 21st century policing policy, which our current president has defunded and dismantled. So I believe defunding is actually not the appropriate messaging. We need an unwavering commitment to tearing down systems of oppression. And one thing I would like to support is with youth just like you. In Chicago, they have a program where youth wear these My Block, My Hood, My City t-shirts, and they work with the cadets and they bring them into the inner city and they meet everyone in that community, clergy, business people, residents. And I think that will have a different relationship between law enforcement and our community. We have to make sure that we build the trust, especially in the Black community. As a Black man, I've been profiled before and it's not a good feeling. So I believe that what we need to do is make sure that the funds go into programs that really are going to be effective and make a change in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Johnson. Next, candidate Marshawn Tapman from District 7.
Thank you. This issue is really touching to me personally because I grew up in this East Oakland community, and since I was a kid, there always been a high level of homicide, which is exactly why this is one of my platform pieces on reducing homicide. We need to defund the police and reimagine the force. We need to promote restorative justice programs. We need investment in our community. We need to make sure opportunity is available for people who look like me, are Black and brown kids. We need to create work training opportunities, trade opportunities, investing in education programs like STEAM, not just STEM. We need to create housing opportunity, which in turn creates stability. We need to support Prop 17, giving people who was formerly incarcerated off of paperwork their right back to vote. Studies show that if they're voting, they're less likely to commit crimes. We need to make sure they have this opportunity to vote for their leadership. We need to fund programs that reduce gun violence. I mean, this is really at the
Okay, thank you, candidate Tapman. Candidate Noel Gallo from District 5, same question.
Yeah, thank you. Having grown up here in East Oakland, certainly I've seen this many times, what happens in East Oakland, West Oakland, and throughout. And when it comes to public safety, right now we need to reestablish a direct communication with our parents, our students, our community, and create a greater partnership to be able to address public safety as a whole. And policing is one side of it, and I do believe that we need to take some of that police funding to deal with mental health services, establish a mental health program that'll assist us directly. But at the end, I still believe when I was growing up in high school, we had a youth employment program that at any time that I could work after school, I could work all summer long. And for many of us in East Oakland, that's what we did, is we worked at, at different locations. And at the same time, some of our schools, like Fremont High School, we established the Architecture Academy that trained our students to be able to work in the workforce, as opposed to looking through the fence and watching everybody else work while they're building your school, and none of those people.
Thank you, candidate Kaya. Next, candidate Marcy Hart from District 7. What is your response?
I would, again, look at, of course, supporting education and supporting, the expansion of mental health workers to deal with nonviolent issues in the community. We also have to ensure that that the decentralized police officers are actually working those communities, walking them, and doing real community policing to really try to get it. Build a connection with residents so that when things happen, people have a particular person or police officers that they can actually reach out to. So really have to build up the community policing efforts and to ensure that people are connected in a way where they know that they can get some action and response from our officials.
Thank you, candidate Hodge. Candidate Carol Fife, District 3, same question.
Because I believe you all are intelligent, I would urge you to look at the root causes and say, why do these circumstances exist in every Black, brown, and poor community in the country, in the world? Because we can list all the programs we want about how we're going to address violence, but we have to address the fact that it is manufactured. Poverty is manufactured. All of the systems that we say that we want to help are intersectional. So until we address education, the lack of public education that exists for our children and that it's divested in, until we address our healthcare system, I can list all the systems that intersect to create the communities that we live in. That is the true crime. We've got to address the root of our communities being disinvested in the first place so we can come up with the right solutions. I can talk about job training. I can talk about all these other things, but white supremacy is disinvesting in our neighborhoods and communities and make money off of us selling drugs, being in an under.
Thank you, candidate Fife. Candidate Treva Reed, District 7, your response?
I feel all of what Carol just shared. And I'll also say that we're done dying and we're done losing our loved ones. It's a public health crisis. Over 60% of those who have lost their lives are Black and brown men. I know the deep pain and trauma of losing a loved one with My daughter's oldest brother, Brandon, who I loved as my son at 22 years old, was murdered in the midst of me advocating and fighting for gun violence prevention, intervention, and healing and trauma care when I worked for Senator Nancy Skinner when she was in the Assembly. I work with Youth Alive on these initiatives now. I'll continue to advocate and advance these issues at the local and state level and ensuring that we've got the funding that we need to come in and address the deeply systemic issues that were mentioned and even more. I support our ceasefire strategies under Reverend Demita. I support ensuring that we fund violence interrupters trained to mediate the threat of crime, investing in jobs, investing in educational equity, investing in the mental health care, the drug treatment and substance abuse programs, investing for trauma survivors to receive expanded resources. They say that by the time our youth get to high school, the majority of them have already lost a loved one. There is healing that's needed in our community, and there is increased efforts.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Now here's our final question. If elected, how do you plan to ensure Oakland enacts new legislation to promote eco-friendly development and prevent carbon emissions? What would you do to close the gap for marginalized communities who are economically disenfranchised and disproportionately impacted by effects of climate change? First up, we have Stephanie Dominguez-Walton from District 1.
Thanks, you guys. Well, first of all, we need to hold our industrial facilities, our largest polluters in our community, accountable and have them comply with all laws. Companies like Schnitzer Steel, who disproportionately sicken our Black and brown communities who are not held accountable, need to be. We need to reduce our reliance on cars, and we can do that by doing away with exclusionary zoning. Talk about racism infiltrating all of our systems and institutions. Let's do away with that now and start building some multifamily units near transit so that people of middle and lower incomes can have the convenience of public transportation and also make our environment healthier. We need to push towards phasing out electricity out of our buildings. That is the second largest cause of emissions. We need to work to expand our Slow Streets program and encourage people to continue biking and walking. It's safer, it's community building, it's healthier. You know, I'm a mother of two, and my son is concerned that he's not going to be able to have.
Thank you, candidate Walton. Next, candidate Richard Raya, District 5, your response.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually excited to get a chance to talk about this. This entire year, I've been an organizer with Sunrise Bay Area, which is a climate organizing movement comprised of young people. And in fact, actually just today, a really cool podcast episode dropped where Carol Fife is interviewed as well. So if you want to hear me talk about it for an hour, you want to hear Carol talk about it for like 40 minutes, go check out that podcast. I'll say right here within this 30-second window, I fully support a Green New Deal / Black New Deal, total reorientation of our city spending. We can put money in the pockets of the people who need it most while we address our crumbling infrastructural needs and institute new things we've never seen before, like alternative energy sources and more green space across Oakland. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, but it needs to become a priority in our research and in our CBAs, our development CBAs, and everything that we do moving forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, candidate Santos Raya. Now we have candidate Rebecca Kaplan at large. Your response.
Thank you so much for asking this question. It is so essential. Oakland has been dumped on for decades, and the Bay region has pushed all of the pollution and all of the emissions onto the hard-hit communities in East and West Oakland, as well as, frankly, in Richmond. And I have been fighting against that overconcentration of toxins. We worked with grassroots community to shut down the largest source of dioxin emission in Oakland. We worked with AC Transit to get zero emission buses, including hybrid, electric, and hydrogen fuel cell, to install bike lanes. And the Bay Area has this government agency that not that many people go to the meeting, called the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And the Air District sets policy and gives out money for clean air programs throughout the Bay Area. For a generation, Oakland had no representation on that board while they let Oakland be polluted. I fought for and won a term on that board and won $50 million for cleaner cranes, trains, and trucks in Oakland. And now the council this week passed my resolution for us to demand a permit.
Thank you, candidate Kaplan. Next, candidate Marshawn Tapman, District 7.
Thank you. We need somebody who will stand up to the polluters out there, somebody who will hold them accountable, somebody who will fine them at high amounts so they can get the picture. We need a clean city. I mean, when we looking at some of the facts, we looking at East Oakland, West Oakland has some of the biggest asthma rates in the city of Oakland. We need to make sure that we put people in power who know this information, who will actually fight for the people in Oakland to actually close this gap that we're talking about, to make sure every neighborhood is clean in Oakland, not just certain neighborhoods throughout Oakland. We need to make sure that we have funding available for people who want to go green on their houses. We need to make sure that we promote green jobs. We need to make sure that we have funding available for businesses who want to go green. We need to support industry, especially the green industry. I do support the Green New Deal. I also support the Paris Climate Accord, in which 45 removed our participation from. We need to fight, and we need to stand up, and we need to not back down from anybody, period. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Tapman. Now we have candidate Dan Cow from District 1. Your response.
Thank you so much. One of the things we must do, we recently passed a new equitable climate action plan for the city of Oakland, a far-reaching plan, a model for other cities around the country, and I'm happy to have been a big part of that, although it was a broad community-based effort. One of the elements in that plan is making sure that all new buildings are all electric to phase out and get rid of natural gas. That will be coming to the City Council on December 1st. I've been a leader working with the city staff to make that happen, and we're bringing it forward this year. Very excited about that new law, but there's much more we need to do. The whole idea of climate justice, environmental justice, I'm not new to that. I've been involved in that for almost 25 years. And in fact, some 15 years ago, I was part of the Ditching Dirty Diesel Coalition based in Oakland with the West Oakland Environmental Indicators Project. We need to push harder on the port. The port is one of the biggest sources, the port operations and all the trucks, ships, tugboats. They're part of the biggest problem in terms of emissions, particulate emissions in West Oakland. We need to push back on them hard, make sure that they take a strong stance. That's part of what I want to make happen. And we need port commissioners and maybe even amendments.
Thank you, candidate Cow. Next, candidate Trino, District 1. Your response.
Thanks. As an engineer who worked for 4 years at Tesla on the Powerwall and the Model S, I'm super committed to solving the climate crisis. I was also endorsed by the Green Party over the incumbent. We have to transition to non-fossil fuel transportation. That means electric vehicles. We need to support walking, biking, and public transit. We need to do this anyway to support denser housing development, to provide affordable housing for all of our residents. And clean energy is not just for rich folks. It impacts everybody. We need to subsidize deployment of solar energy efficiency improvements to disenfranchised communities that have been left out. Every community in Oakland must transition to clean energy, and I will provide the leadership, urgency, and technical know-how to do that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, candidate No. Now we have candidate Derek Johnson at large. Same question.
Well, thank you for that question. It's very important, and I would have to kind of agree with Councilman Dan Cobb. I mean, the West Oakland, the diesel trucks, we need to rectify that problem immediately. But what I would like to do is, I was very much a supporter and a contributor and a major fundraiser for my alma mater, Bishop O'Dowd High School. We have a living lab, and it's from a student's perspective, where you have native plant community, certified wildlife habitat, and sustainable garden. It's a platform for experimental multidisciplinary learning, and the lab not only engages students with topics in ecology and food and systems. I'd like to see the city, and I would support, when I get in office, the city and Oakland Public School System providing a lab and an environmental studies program so that you, the youth, can learn and engage, and you're our future leaders, and you can help, really eliminate the carbon emissions in society today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, candidate Johnson. And finally, candidate Noel Gallo, D5, your response.
Yeah. Thank you. And this is an action that I completely support. And it's an example, I believe, in transit housing. I think right here in the Fruitville area, the Fruitville BART, we have the Unity Council building hundreds of units of affordable housing, and the Native American Health Center at the other side of BART is including building more affordable housing, 110 units at that location. So I believe in the housing being near transit opportunities, also with the slow streets, safe streets, biking. We need to keep developing that on major streets throughout the city. I'm working with UC Berkeley on a special program where we have adopted a whole block here off of Fruitville Avenue, and every home will have solar panel. solar panels, and it's a demonstration site that we're going to replicate throughout the city of Oakland and use that site as a model. How do we provide the solar panels through the homes, especially those that are in great need? I'm a big promoter of green jobs, and I think this is a future for our young people, and we need to prepare you to go in that direction.
Okay, thank you, candidate Gallo. Thank you, all the candidates. That concludes our first panel of the afternoon. So now we'll be moving on to the next segment of the forum, which is the raffle. But first, we're going to have a wellness check from your MCs. Again, thank you to all the candidates.
Thank you again to all city council candidates for participating. Thank you, Benjamin and and Athena for moderating. You guys both did great. Like I said, thank you to the candidates. Let's go ahead and show them some love in the comments. You guys did great. Also, I hope you've been taking notes so you can go ahead and vote later. Feel free to comment on what you liked or disliked, agreed with, or even disagreed with in the chat. Please share this event on your social media for the school board panel coming up next. Submit any additional questions you want to ask by following the link in the comments. The candidates will have the option to make a video and answer your additional questions. We'll post the videos on our social media accounts. And now we will be playing music for 1 minute. As we play the music, we want to acknowledge everyone's physical and mental wellness because it's so important. So now's the time to grab a sip of water, grab some food, go to the bathroom, take a quick stretch, hug a friend, lay down, really do whatever you want, and make sure you come back for the raffle. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Time to announce the winner of our first raffle. So I hope you all took care of your needs, and we are now going to announce the winner for our first raffle. Everyone who registered for this event through Eventbrite has automatically been placed on our wonderful wheel and has been given the chance to win a $30 Target gift card. So let's spin that wheel. And it looks like the winner of our first raffle and $30 trip to Target is Gracia Palma. I'm so sorry if I said your name wrong, but please make sure you type in the comments if you are Gracia Palma. Congratulations again on winning the first raffle. We'll be contacting you with information on how to retrieve the prize after the event. Congratulations once again. I would now like to introduce our next youth performers, who are Youth versus Apocalypse. YVA is a climate justice youth organization that started right here in Oakland. This original song and music video features youth between the ages 6 to 19 and are part of YVA's #ThisIsTheTime campaign to offer youth who are too young to vote a path for making our voices heard, just like all of us. So give it up for Youth versus Apocalypse and get up and dance.
Get up and go, get up and vote. We only at a time when we lose hope. It's time to fight, we have the power. When they try to silence us, we just speak louder. This is the time to take control. Stand up, show up, play your role. It's time to fight, we have the power. When they try to silence us, we just speak louder.
It's time to fight because we have the power. And when they try to silence us, we just speak louder. So I'ma keep on fighting till you see my power. Not gonna break down, but build a better tower. Cause I'm a bright flame and never less than ember. And I'ma keep on till the last endeavor. And we can save lives, be allies, save our planet together.
Get up and fight, it's time to make the world right. This a long time coming, we've been fighting since the genocide of the native people. Then they stole my kinfolk off the mother soil. Look outside, you know this the time. If we don't fight now, then we won't survive. Act for your ancestors, I'm acting for mine. If it wasn't for their might, this wouldn't be the time.
Get up and go, get up and vote. We only at a time when we lose hope. It's time to fight, we have the power. When they try to silence us, we just speak louder. I'm the one who gets targeted by racism, sexism, violence. But most of all, white silence. From the lowlands to the highlands. Come on, y'all, we can do better than that. Let it be known, it's in your bones. Use your vote for a good razón.
El poder está en las palmas de tus manos, es bien claro, hay que aprender a usarlo, a votar, ahí nos vamos. Get up and go, get up and go. No matter how you do it, but you're voting for the earth. Voting for the people who ain't got a chance to vote. Deprived for the matter, cause they're scared about my vote. You talk about collective liberation, they showed us support. Been having conversations like you're ready to import. To save the world, we can't do it alone. So pick your butt up and pull up to the polls.
Get up and go, get up and vote.
Votar es importante. Había mucha gente que no lo podía hacer antes. Las mujeres y la gente de color salieron a la calle, protestaron con valor. Mucha gente marcharon, mucha gente peleó por el derecho de votar. Mucha gente murió, so dime tú, ¿cómo se sentirían si su esfuerzo fue en vano? Ellos lucharon, pero el derecho no lo utilizamos. Hay que votar, tenemos que sacar al presidente actual de la Casa Blanca. Tu voz tiene que abusar, no te puedes callar. Recuérdale a tu vecino, juntos lo vamos a lograr.
Wow. Youth versus Apocalypse, that was amazing. We will begin with our OUSD School Board Candidate panel. I'll turn it over to you, Lauren, to introduce our moderators.
Like Anaya said, thank you, Anaya. Like Anaya said, wow, that was just great. But let's get back to it. As an ACC member, I'm excited, super excited for this next panel. Since youth have often led the charge for social movements, I'll be listening attentively to see what these candidates really have to say. I would like to introduce our next two moderators, Natalie and Alexis, who are both in Oakland's All City Council representatives. Natalie and Alexis, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Lauren. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Ayala, a 12th grader at Coliseum College Prep Academy, while being the media director for All City Council. I'm looking forward to being a moderator because I want to represent the youth voices and be able to ask the candidates the questions about why they're running for this position.
Hey, y'all. My name is Natalie Gallegos. I am a sophomore at Oakland High. I'm the LCAP Student Budget Director's I am the All City Council's LCAP Student Budget Director, and I'm excited to be a moderator with Alexis and interacting with our candidates today.
The guidelines for this panel are the same ones for the first one. I will repeat them again in case you just joined us. Due to the time constraints, we will strictly adhere to set time limits. Each candidate can use their entire time, but we'll have to mute anyone who goes over the time to keep everything on track. Peer advisor Sophie will hold up a yellow sign on her screen to indicate you have 15 seconds remaining. Not every candidate will answer every question. Every candidate will have a chance to answer a minimum of 3 questions. The order of the candidates will be The order of the candidates who will be asked the questions have been randomly pre-selected. Remember that this is not a debate. Candidates will not have a chance to respond or have a discussion with other candidates. Audience members may submit follow-up questions at the end of the forum. Candidates may have a video with their answers and will post them on their social media pages before the election. And again, for you watching, if you hear something you agree with, enjoy, or maybe even disagree with throughout this panel, type it in the chat. We want to hear what y'all are thinking.
Thanks, Alexis. Once we read the question, we will call out the names of the candidates to respond, at which point you may unmute yourself. We will begin the timer when you speak. Now let's introduce our Oakland School Board candidates. When we call out your name, please turn on your camera and wave to the audience. Today, joining us, we have from District 1, Sam Davis and Austin Downhouse. For District 3, we have candidates Maya Edgerly and Sharice Gash. From District 5, we have Mike Hutchinson, Jorge Lerma, Leroy Gaines, and Shelia Pope Lawrence. And for District 7, we have candidates Cristina Molina and Victor Valerio.
First, we will begin with the candidates providing a 45-second introduction of themselves. I will call your names in order of districts and by alphabetical first names. Candidates, please tell us briefly why you're running for school board. Why are you the best candidate to represent Oakland youth? If elected, describe how you will work with Oakland students to improve the quality of education during your time in office. First up, we have Austin Downhouse from District 1.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for hosting the forum today. It's a pleasure to get to speak with you all. Why I'm running can be summed up in my campaign slogan, which is every student, every decision, every single day. I am running because for too long, Oakland Unified School District has not been getting the job done for our students. We have struggled to provide a world-class education, especially for Black and Brown students across Oakland. And so I want to use my experience as an educator, as an education policy advocate, and as a small business owner to help get the district moving in the right direction. Student voice has to be our #1 priority and at the center of every single decision that we make. And so if I'm elected, I will ensure that there, in addition to formal forums like giving students the right to vote, ensure that their voice is heard and given input for every decision that we make. And I think that, I'm qualified.
Thank you, Austin Downhouse. Next, we have Sam Davis from District 1.
Thank you so much to everybody from the All City Council who organized this. And Natalie, really good to see you again. I'm Sam Davis. I'm running for school board in District 1. I am a parent. My son goes to Oakland Tech. And I used to be a teacher in the Oakland schools. And I'm endorsed by the Teachers Union and the Democratic Party. And, I'm not new to the Oakland schools. I've been involved here for 17 years. And as a parent activist, I have years of collaborating with youth activists from Californians for Justice to advocate for changes at the school board. And during the strike a couple of years ago, I was really involved with organizing dozens of student volunteers from Oakland Tech to support the Solidarity Schools. I'm the only candidate in District 1 who's taught high school students in public school programs in Oakland. So, I have the experience working with the young people. I'm looking forward to working with you all on this. And I'm so excited.
Thank you, Sam Davis from District 1. Now we will go with Maya Edgerly from District 3.
She's not here right now. Hopefully she will be here. She's late. Let's just move on for now. Is that cool?
Okay, so next we will have Sharice Gash from District 3.
Hi, thank you for including me. My name is Sharice Gash. I am a former student and a mother of a 2020 graduate of OUSD. I'm very proud to be raised in District 3, and I'm very proud to listen to and to be an active advocate for students and parents in our district. To me, the youth is the most powerful positions for our education, and we have to support them. I have to support you, and our district has not been supporting you in the valiant way that they should. And you are the most precious gems to our city of Oakland, and we must empower you with education all the way through. So I'm here to invest in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Therese Gash from District 3. Now we will move on to Leroy Gaines from District 5.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Leroy Gaines. I'm running for District 5 seat. I was a principal for many years here in Oakland on 81st Ave. I was the principal of Acorn Woodland Elementary School. When I was there, we did some amazing things. We had amazing outcomes for our students who are both Black and Brown. We won awards. I won awards as the principal of the year. I helped start and run a principal union. And overall, really, we were able to do all of that because we were always community centered. And the reason why we're community centered is because at the heart of it, the school is not the teachers, it's not the principals. The school belongs to the parents. The school belongs to the students. Those are the folks who are going to be there. And I've always had that as my North Star. I came from a community just like East Oakland. I grew up really poor. I'm Afro-Latino. So I know that the struggle, and I bring that with me every day. I bring that same fire with me every day.
Thank you, Leroy. Next, we have Mike Hutchinson.
Great, thank you. And thanks for having me here today. My name is Mike Hutchinson, and I'm born and raised here in Oakland in District 5, and I'm a proud graduate of Oakland Public Schools. I spent over 20 years working directly with youth in Oakland and in our schools until 2012, when the two schools I worked at, Santa Fe Elementary and Maxwell Park Elementary, were closed by the school board. Since then, I've been really active in trying to organize around public education issues and education justice issues. We have a 3-point plan to really stabilize and build this district. We want to end school closures and audit OUSD. We want to create authentic community engagement, and we want to build quality, sustainable community schools across Oakland. And lastly, I'm the only candidate in District 5 to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, DSA, and the Green Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike Hutchinson from District 5. Now we will move on to Sheila Lawrence from District 5. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for having me here this afternoon. My name is Sheila Pope Lawrence, and I'm running for school board here in District 5 because in 2019, I worked at United for Success Academy. And while I was there, I had a realization that really was disappointing, that our youth are so so hungry to learn and do different things, and they didn't have the opportunity to do that, which prompted me to run for school board. I have 29 years of experience in education at all levels, in both traditional and non-traditional schools. I'm different from my candidates in that I have the lens from multiple districts that are a little bit higher functioning, and I want to bring that to Oakland. I raised my family here in District 5.
Thank you, Sheila. Next, we have Jorge Lerma from District 5. You're on mute.
Good afternoon. My name is Jorge Lerma, and I am an advocate for total restructuring of the Oakland Unified School District. If elected, I would not return to an apartheid segregated school system that Oakland Unified School can be at times. Too many students just are warehoused or provided an assembly line education that tolerates alienation, failure, and poor opportunity. We are in a struggle for our students' minds and identity. And if elected, I would be an advocate and colleague with all the students in Oakland to assure that that happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge Lerma from District 5. We will move on to Cristina Molina from District 7.
Hi, so my name is Cristina Molina. I am a Chicana cisgenders pronouns she, her, hers, ella. I am a proud daughter of farm workers that were unionized by Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez. I've also been a resident of East Oakland for 35 years and a product of OUSD myself, having attended Melrose Elementary, Calvin Simmons Junior High, and Fremont High School. I'm also a proud mother now for OUSD students, 2 who are special learners. And why am I running? Well, I am running because I've been an activist in this community for, like I said, 20 years. And I have discovered that there's a lot of injustices that happen to our students. And those injustices range from child sexual exploitation to domestic violence to being raised by parents who have substance abuse disorders. And I know these stories because you have told them to me. And I know that that's the reason why your education is being affected. So
Thank you, Christina. Next, we have Victor Valerio from District 7.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for having me. My name is Victor Valerio, and I'm running for school board in District 7 as a former student and as a community member. I've attended East Oakland schools since I was born and raised in Oakland, and I'm running on the basis of transparency, accountability, and community building. I mean, it doesn't go far to say that I remember how it was to be going to school as a student, when we actually seen resources being cut from our budgets. Where during the winter times, we didn't have the heater, and during the summer times, we didn't have an AC system going on, for an example. And they only fixed it when the school district or school board members decided to have a meeting on the school site. I'm running because I understand where the students are coming from, and I actually want to re-engage the community and the students back into the empowerment of them feeling like they are part owner of their education, by actually engaging them in the decision making. And those are the reasons why I'm running. But I'm also running because I want to make sure that we retrack.
Thank you, candidates. Now we will move on to 3 pre-selected questions. We encourage everyone listening to take notes so you can choose your favorite candidate at the end. And there will be an opportunity later to submit your questions to candidates for them to answer in a recorded video.
As a reminder to the panelists, you have been placed in randomly selected order to answer these questions. When your name is called, unmute yourself. When you begin to speak, we will start the timer. You have the entirety of the 1 minute to express your opinions and respond to the question. We will not mute you until 1 minute is up. Then we will move to the next speaker.
Here is our second question. Some of you have experienced partnering with youth in varying degrees. What role do you believe youth should have in decisions that are made about their education? How do you plan to center the voices and experiences of youth in your decisions as school board members? Measure QQ, which will expand voting rights for school board members to 16-year-olds in the district, is on the November ballot. Do you support Measure QQ? Why or why not?
First up, we have Sam Davis from District 1. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Yeah, I strongly support Measure QQ. I was in touch with, city council members when they were deciding whether to put it on the ballot, and I definitely advocated for it to go on the ballot. I think it's when you speak to young activists like yourselves, you just hear so much passion and interest and engagement with the school system, and you have the lived experience of going through it. And I think, Natalie, when we met not too long ago, I remember the issue was raised that, so often we hear a lot from elementary school parents, but we don't hear enough from high school parents, and high school students really end up being that voice from the inside of knowing what's going on at the schools and what needs to change. So I think it's an absolute yes on QQ. I think in terms of having folks involved in policymaking, our current school board members, some of them I've heard you have to protest outside their house when you want to meet with them. That will not be the case with me. You can just come to me and ask me for a meeting. I'm definitely always open to meet with anybody. I also will go out to the community and, visit the high school.
Thank you, Sam Davis. Next, we have Victor Valerio from District 7.
I'm absolutely for it. I believe it's something we've been fighting since I was in high school back in 2001. And I believe that students have shown that they're passionate, they're will thinking, and they know what's going on. And they know the changes that are needed to be done at the school site. If anything, the bottom line is the reason the school district exists is for you guys, and for future generations of students are going to come in. So we got to be paying attention how we can do our job better as a school board director and as a school board and as a school district. So I'm absolutely for it.
Thank you, Victor Valerio from District 7. Now we will have Cristina Molina from District 7.
Thank you. So when I decided to run for a school board, it was very important for me to incorporate all the voices of my community. So one of those voices was youth. So we formed rapidly a youth caucus. And I believe I have like 10 members of the youth caucus. And they were there not only to help me get elected, and participate in this electoral process, but they were also there to provide me the platforms that were needed, the items that they want me to advocate on their behalf. And one of them is that they want to partake more on the decision making of their education. And when I met with them this last week, so we can prepare for this meeting, I mean, they wholeheartedly support QQ, and I support them with them. We even put in a town hall where we invited Jessica Ramos and one of my leader caucus, Alexandra Shavers, to talk about the Measure QQ, but also to conduct a voter empowerment meeting. But some of the things that the youth want is that we begin to bridge the gap between school and community, because they really.
Thank you, Christina. Next, we have Austin Dunhouse from District 1.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm an enthusiastic supporter of QQ, so I encourage everyone listening, if you can't already vote, to vote for QQ. I think that one of the things that we have to do to ensure that youth voice is included is put the onus on us to reach out to you and not expect for you to come knocking on our door. That looks like creating intentional space for your voice to be heard. Earlier this week, I made a handful of public commitments to how I will engage the community. And one of those was student-led community design sessions, where we are identifying problems together and bringing student voice to the table to help surface solutions to challenges that they're experiencing. And I want to do that through a proven model called participatory youth design. We've seen this be really effective in places like Fresno OUSD. I've had the great privilege of working with a couple of folks there, and I want to bring models like that ensure students have structured places where they are being asked for their input, they are participating in solutions design, and we are making sure that the people who are most affected by our decisions are giving us feedback on how those decisions are affecting their learning and their lives.
Thank you, Austin Dunhouse from District 1. Now we're going to move on to Cherise Gash from District 3.
Thank you. You guys are very serious about this 1 minute, so I'm going to be very quick. Yes, I support QQ. My son canvassed for it in his senior year, so I'm very happy that it's going to be on the ballot for the students. And yes, your voice needs to be heard. You need to be able to vote for your school board members, and especially the students that are on the All City Council. Your vote needs to count. Your vote needs to count, and you guys need to be paid a bit more of an excitement with it. You also need to be able to view school sites to be informed about all the 86 school sites that are within school districts, so you also can be more communicative with the students around the school sites. Yes, all of our students need to be able to have their voices heard, and you need to be able to, like me as a school board director, I have to come to sites. I have to come to all sites directly. I have to be at meetings and sit with the youth from every age group, whether the students are drawing pictures for me, whether they're contacting me on Instagram, or whether they're sending me TikTok videos, or whatever it is, that the best way for them to communicate with me to do better for their school sites, because you are the ones who are actually in there. I will do that, and I will communicate what's ever best for you.
Thank you, Cherise. Next, we have Mike Hutchinson from District 5.
Great, thank you. Yes, I support QQ, and I support any efforts to expand democracy. But I'm not really convinced that that's going to be the best tool to actually lift up student voice. And so even under existing laws now and under the Ed Code, students are a key stakeholder group, and they sit in a lot of bodies that should be fully empowered. So I would like to see the 2 school board student members have a full vote on the school board. That would actually give students real voice. I would like to see students fully empowered on school site councils and the LCAP advisory. And again, since students are a key stakeholder group, when we redo our community engagement and actually start authentically engaging with the community, the students need to be a key stakeholder group sitting there along with everyone else from the very beginning. Lastly, I do a lot of work nationally, and one of the groups we work with is the Baltimore Algebra Project, which is a student-led and run organization from Baltimore. They have developed a National Students' Bill of Rights. I would love to see Oakland students have a standing document that we don't have to recreate every year, and so we can actually systematically.
Thank you, Mike Hutchinson from District 5. Now we will move on to Jorge Lirma from District 5. Take it away.
Good afternoon. Thank you. This is Jorge speaking. I'm totally and committed and enthusiastic about QQ. I see the role of youth in the new anti-racist, student-centered Oakland Unified School District as a group, a constituency that must have all the power and say in curriculum, in hiring, assessment, technical education, and budget building. I don't want to see this QQ program or the good intentions turn into tokenism, where we carry around a student and show them like a flag. We need to have students empowered in everybody and having a full vote in every bit of business that we have in the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge Lerma, and thank you to all candidates. We will move on to our third question, and that is, last July, the school board unanimously passed the George Floyd resolution. For those who do not know, the George Floyd resolution would redistribute money that previously funded the Oakland School Police Department. What are the top 3 priority investments that those funds should be reallocated to? What are the alternatives to school police? How will you ensure that youth input is included and reflected? First up, we have Leroy Gaines from District 5.
Hi, thanks everybody. And yeah, no, I think that was a great decision by the school board to finally go ahead and approve that. As a school principal, we had to use the OUSD police fairly often for folks who are coming on, and for lockdowns, we had people run through the campus with guns, and often it was me and my teachers running out towards the gunfire, towards the shooting, right, to make sure everyone was protected. So I think the first thing we need to do is have a conversation with the community, with our parents, with our students, to think about what are we going to do now that the OUSD police aren't there. I don't want to call OPD and have them come to the campus to solve problems, because that's never been a solution for us. And usually it creates more problems, to be honest, right? And especially as a Black man, I know how that usually goes down. So I would say we need to come up with an idea. We all have to put our hands together and our minds together and decide what's going to be that next step. So investment would be thinking of what's the new version of school security. What does that look like to keep us all safe? The second thing is counselors. We have therapists at our school. It helped a ton in thinking about the trauma that was coming into school and being developed at the school. So making sure that money goes to that. And the last thing would be restorative justice. We've invested a bit into it. We lost some funds from the district for our
Thank you, Leroy. Next, we have Maya Edgerly from District 3.
Thank you, Leroy Gaines from District 5. We will move on to Therese Gash from District 3.
All right. Yes, we don't need any more school site police, and it's too bad that their contract was still being paid out, even though they're no longer going to be used. So we're losing money with that, but we also need to, once we're elected, we need to review that contract to make sure that all of that money is going back to our students. Second off, we need neighborhood ambassadors, we need student ambassadors, we need folks that are able to look out for their school sites. As a school board director, we need to be on site looking at our safety areas around our school sites, and that means all of them. For our students, you asked many times before, you protested for, you want a restorative justice return to your school sites. You all need psychologists, you need therapists, you need mentors, you need college support systems available for you. You need active volunteers and parent volunteers to be on site. All of these things help create a community and safety and sanctuaries for our school sites for our students. And last things like that, you need to know how your budget is working for you. You need to see transparency within a school site budget. All of those things we can effectively do for our students, along with providing shuttles and internship to our internship sites for our students. All of these things can be done with utilizing that money taken away from the school site police department.
Thank you, Cherries.
Thank
Now we have Austin Downhouse from District 1.
Yeah, so one of the things I love so much about your generation is that you have done a way better job than I think of a lot of our generations in showing how inclusive you are, how anti-racist you are, how much it is embedded that you care about diverse and inclusive schools. And so I think the first thing that we need to do is turn the reins over to you, and through that participatory youth design program, ask you, what type of culture do you want to create that leads to the inclusion that you want to see? I think the second thing is that I want to echo the calls for making sure that restorative justice is an essential part of every single campus across all of Oakland. I think that we see when we take that approach, we are being proactive in addressing the challenges that we see on campuses, as opposed to being reactive. And so the final thing is I want to make sure that we're investing in mental health and trauma-informed care. I wholeheartedly support calls to get police out of our schools. I support the George Floyd resolution, and I want to make sure that we're reallocating those funds to those 3 programs that put your voice at the center of creating positive school climate.
Thank you so far to all candidates in this forum. Thank you, Austin Downhouse from District 1. Next up, we have Cristina Molina from District 7. Take it away.
Thank you so much. So, it was in 1992 that I held my first protest sign, and it was against my school's police department, because I knew then that the police were targeting Black and brown students, and this was at UC Berkeley at the university. And I remember that it was a very hard movement to work in, right? There was only 10 of us out there protesting, and it was very easy for bystanders to attack us. But I'm so happy that our dream that I had as a youth came true into fruition, because I was 100% against the police presence at the school, because children don't need to get punished. They need intervention, they need help. And that's one of the reasons, one of the platforms I'll invest the money that was diverted from OPD, and is to invest on the first Oakland Unified School District responders team. So what is the responders team? They're going to answer to any calls where there's a chronic truancy, where a child is getting an FRD on their first quiz, where a student is showing adverse behaviors towards their teachers, towards their peers, towards themselves. So this team of specialized counselors, community advocates will come and provide the support and the resources that child need and the family need in order for that child to move forward. Because not only do we need to...
Thank you, Christina. Next, we have Sheila Pope Lawrence.
Thank you. I'm the only candidate, as far as I know, that's currently working at a school site, and I'm a school counselor. And I've been working through the pandemic, so I know exactly what parents, students, and the community is facing right now. And this whole topic of defunding the police, I am 100% for it. My number one priority would be to make sure that there is mental health support on every campus in Oakland. Number two would be to make sure that restorative practices are in existence already in Oakland. We just need to strengthen them and make sure that they are being utilized properly. And the third thing is to make sure that we are utilizing more of our community organizations that want to come in and help and mentor our youth.
Thank you, Sheila Pop Lawrence from District 5. I want all candidates smile, talk from your heart. Just say it. Just say it out loud. And next up, we have Mike Hutchinson from District 5.
Thank you. Raheem Brown. Since Raheem Brown's murder almost 10 years ago, it's been clearly apparent to everyone who's been active in Oakland that OUSD needed to disband their police force. I've been very active in that movement, both here locally and nationally with police-free schools. I fully support Black organizing projects, People's Plan for Police-Free Schools. They lay out in that a safety plan for us going forward. And I think it's long past time that we change the dynamics of how we talk about this issue. I'm the only candidate that has actively spoken against the OUSD PD at school board meetings over the last 8 years. I can go down the statistics, but what we need to understand is, as a philosophy, we do not want our public education system to also be in the policing business, and they need to be out of that business going forward. And the $6.5 million that used to be spent on police need to fully fund counseling services and diversion programs within our schools and put those services directly back to students. No more police in our schools ever. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for answering our questions so far. Now, here is our final question. Do you think charter schools benefit Oakland as a city? If yes or no, then what is your position on the growing number of charter schools in Oakland? What is your position on billionaires like Mike Bloomberg being invested in this election?
First up, we have Sam Davis from District 1.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think when charter schools first came to Oakland, they were a benefit because they were bringing, creative new ways of organizing education. But over the years, we just have way too many charter schools in Oakland at this point, and it's in part because of the disparities, where there's several charter schools that under-enroll students with special needs, and they don't have newcomer programs, and that just heightens the disparities with Oakland Unified. So it's not anything against anybody who's chooses to go to a charter school, because that's what's best. I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but and I also am very much against all of this money flooding into our election. That's why I refuse to accept any endorsement from organizations that are taking money from billionaires. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam Davis. Next, we have Leroy Gaines from District 5.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, we had some charters in the beginning that were really strong. I had a meeting with students from Street Academy, which was essentially like one of the first charters, right? And they were doing amazing, innovative stuff, supporting our community. However, like now we have so many, about 25% of our schools right now are charter schools, when on that average, it's around 6% in most districts. So we have too many. I don't think we should be opening anymore. I think that we need more quality schools in our city. In terms of the billionaire money and Michael Bloomberg, when you look at what he's done, right, and this is not to defend him, but this is to say that there's been incidents where he provided help with a soda tax. We're looking in Florida right now, and he's helping us turn Florida around so that Trump doesn't get elected, and we actually have a Democratic red state turn Democratic. So there are things. So my assumption is that the money that's coming in, I would like to believe that it's going for good. However, there is way too much money in this race on all sides. This should be something that's democratic. There should be something that everyone has access to. Unfortunately, it's a two-way race. You either have support from Go and the Bloomberg, or you have support from OEA. There hasn't been a real clear way to become a school.
Thank you, Leroy Gaines from District 5. Now we will have Victor Valerio from District 7.
Hi, that's a very good question. I think this shouldn't be a conversation about us versus them. Originally the model of the charter school, because I went to a charter school myself, was grassroots and it was community based. What had happened in the last few years, I believe, is that the charter movement has gone hijacked, and the proliferation of charter schools has actually been detrimental to the fiscal solvency of our school board. Quite frankly, at the end of the day, is that we understand the model of the charter schools to help students and help try different teaching methods, but it was never meant to substitute the current traditional school or to actually balkanize the communities that we've seen. And as you heard before, charter schools actually been a little bit of discrepancy in the way in which distribution goes with student enrollment, as well as how it only benefits a few, and leaves a lot and many students behind overall. So it's something that needs to be discussed on. But I do believe in reducing the number of charter schools, and I do believe in reevaluating how their approach is in teaching students and how students are benefiting from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Next, we have Sharish Gash from District 3.
Thank you. Yeah, we have far too many charter schools. I mean, everyone is agreeing with that. We have about 45. We have 10 county charter schools, which are okay, but the 35 of the privatized ones need to go. I mean, it's just too many. We need to reduce the number of them, put a moratorium on them, and bring it back under 10% within our school site district. And they benefit right now from the small school site models that other school sites are being closed for. They benefit from the small classroom models that other school sites are being closed for. Not only do they fund, hundreds of $millions from our overall district budget it's just like it takes away from the school sites that need it the most. And so also again, they're not as supportive for our special needs students when they say after 5 or 6 years that they're up to 11%. What does that mean? That means only maybe 11 students are now supported with that. I mean, our students are not being served after the 20-day marking period. So that means that the ADA money, after they get their next funding for the next year, it doesn't do anything for them if they are not being served educationally wise for it. As far as Bloomberg, this education system is being bought and sold. Oakland is being bought and sold with this election, plain and simple. You have hundreds of thousands of dollars that are going into election funding, but they are not going to the most needed students. You hire
Thank you, Trish Gash from District 3. Now we will move on to Jorge Lirma from District 5. You're on mute.
There we go. Thank you. Great question. First of all, I do believe in the moratorium. I don't judge schools, whether if they're district-based or charters, but I do judge it on one thing. If you're failing in your district school, if you're failing in your charter school, I'm going to be real tough on that. I want to be critical with that. I don't define 45% of the people or more have chosen to send their kids to charter schools in District 5. I don't want to turn my back on those parents, but I do want to be critical with those charter schools. I want to invite them back into the district, where I do believe in the Oakland One policy, that I think Oakland Unified School District should be supervising and being the administrative body for all schools in the city of Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Next, we have Shelia Pope Lawrence.
Thank you. As a counselor, when I would ask parents when it was time for the 8th graders to go on to the high school, why are you choosing a charter school over a traditional public school? They would tell me it's because of safety. It's because of safety. So in my opinion, we have way too many charter schools here in Oakland. We need to learn and learn from what the charter schools are offering and bring it back to Oakland. We need to recruit those families back to Oakland schools. My experience as a counselor has been that charter schools just dump kids anytime they want, and it's not okay. So Bloomberg and all his big money coming into our Oakland school board run is very suspicious to me. And it makes me wonder exactly what are they trying to do? Do they want more charter schools here in Oakland? I say no, I'm not in agreement, and I'm not going to approve or authorize any new schools.
Thank you, candidates. And that concludes our second panel. We will be moving on to the next segment of the forum, the youth vote. Let's hand it back to Lauren and Anaya.
Thank you so much, Natalie and Alexis. Y'all were amazing. You guys did an amazing job leading us through that panel. And let's also appreciate the candidates and the moderators for dedicating their time to this forum one more time. Please show them some love in the chat. This is the event y'all have been waiting for. You heard the candidates speak on issues concerning the youth, and you will now have the opportunity to vote. I hope you've been taking notes. In the ballot, we want you to rank the candidates from your first to last choices for each open city council and school board seat. Add comments regarding why you made your choices. We might use your quote in our voter guide publication after this event. It would be greatly appreciated if y'all could take the next 3 minutes to vote. We'll play some relaxing music, and then we'll announce the preliminary results.
Don't you tell me that it wasn't meant to be. Call it destiny. Just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try. We had a good thing going lately. might not have always been a fairy tale, but you know, and I know that they ain't real. I'll take the truth over the story. You might have tried my patience greatly, but I'm not about to let us fail. I'll be the wind picking up your sail. But won't you do something for me? Don't you tell me that it wasn't meant to be. Call it quits, call it destiny. Just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Coming and going, inside out, back to front, old tangled and messy. And that's how we've been and we'll always be. And that's alright with me. Don't you tell me that it wasn't meant to be. Call it quits, call it destiny. Just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Try, just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Try, just because it won't come easily doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
As you all vote for your favorite candidates, I'm going to spin the wheel for winners for our next raffle. Again, everybody who registered for this event through Eventbrite has automatically been placed on our wonderful wheel of chance and given a chance to win a $30 gift card to Target.
It seems like the second winner of the raffle is Maricela Gutierrez. Please comment if you're here, Maricela Gutierrez. Congratulations. Thank you for signing up, being part of the raffle. We will be contacting you with information on how to retrieve your prize right after the event.
Hey, Lauren, I have an idea.
What's your idea?
I think we should do one more raffle. I think people want to win some more prizes. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. Let's do it.
All right, let's spin that wheel one more time. I wonder who it's going to be. And the final raffle winner of the day is Jeff Bosch. So if that's you, please say you're here in the comments and we'll be contacting you later.
You will have about 1 minute to wrap up your voting.
You don't know, babe, when you hold me and kiss me slowly, it's the sweetest thing. And it don't change. If I had it my way, you would know that you are. You're the coffee that I need in the morning. You're my sunshine in the rain when it's pouring. Won't you give yourself to me? Give it all. I just wanna see. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. You know that I see it. I know you're a star. Where you go, I'll follow. No matter how far. If life is
all right, y'all. We're gonna close off our event today from our very own Oakland Youth Advisory Commission. So please let me introduce Ali Mohar. She's a junior at Oakland School for the Arts, and she has a strong message for us about the meaning of home and politics. So please give it up one more time for my girl, Ali.
My November 2014 drive to school went like this. My mom backs out of the driveway and the tires roll above one of thousands of uneven, bumpy streets marked with the oak tree emblem at the end of the block. I stare out the window, my forehead greases the glass, and the crisp air freezes my face as I look at the billboard sign that has changed 3 times this month from Cache Creek Casino Resort to Got Injuries Call 1-800-GOT-PAIN to Subway $5 footlong. I saw gardens from cement, lines outside St. Vincent de Paul, a crowd at Social Security, big freeways, small owned markets, and a half dozen corner stores in a 3-block radius. I can describe it now, but then I didn't know what a beer can was, what tobacco was, or even how the lottery Mega Million worked. But I saw it, not knowing. Overflowing in the metal green trash cans that never got taken care of, that have been soiled and stained black for decades. And I contemplated the importance of cleanliness, thinking about how my mom told me 10 minutes ago that where I sleep and eat must be clean because we respect home. And living here, breathing this air, I see that the trash in those trash cans isn't what they meant by clean up Oakland. People want people out of sight, out of mind, want homes built from what people find gone, and the ripeness of our culture goes with them. This city continues to grow away from its roots and cast shadows, so some of us may never have the chance to reflect what we absorb from this foggy Oakland sky. And words written on paper, resolutions, policies, ordinances, shove the mess underneath the bed in the closet to convince mom that you've cleaned your room now so you can go out and play, but now the parks are gated off. Words. The moisture in your mouth that's required to formulate your thoughts take up time, space, movement. You walk in a different zip code than me. I don't see what's on your block or what used to be there, and I will never know. Unless we exchange our words and thoughts, stories, and remember them before they lose life, like some of our favorite spots in this city before they got torn down and rebuilt to showcase this city's success. That wasn't a win for all of us. Fulfill those broken promises, write with intention to change, not to mislead, and I ask you, what is your Oakland? Who is in it, and what matters? Thank you.
So those were really empowering words, and I just really appreciated that spoken word. And she really went in. She really did that. So let's show her all some love.
Yes, amazing work, Allie. It was so moving. And on that note of taking action, I want to let everyone under 18 know that if you're 16, you can pre-register to vote. There are hundreds of thousands of California youth who are eligible to vote in the next election. That's huge. We are now dropping the voting registration links in the chat so you can do it today. And to the adults here, in case you don't know, but we seriously hope you do, election month started on October 3rd and ends on November 3rd, which is coming up soon. You can register online or at your polling place. If you're turning it by mail, then you can sign up to track and receive notifications about your mail-in ballot at where'smyballot.sos.california.gov. And if you're a busy person, make a voting plan about logistics like where, what time, and how you will vote, and to make it less overwhelming. Turn in your ballots early and try not to wait until the last minute. Voting is the most important thing you can do as citizens, and you can speak for the voiceless. Remember that youth have a voice, and we want our voices to be heard. And it's so important during this election. You are voting for us. With that being said, it's time to hear what the youth have to say. I'll turn it over to Karina to announce the preliminary results of our youth poll from today.
Hello, everyone. We hope you've been enjoying the event so far. So far, we've gotten about 27 results, and I know results are still coming in. So these are just preliminary results. And we will close the poll on Tuesday at 5 p.m. So please continue to vote. This poll is for our Oakland students. So if you are a student between the ages of 13 and 21, we want you to vote, because this all affects you, and we'll be making this into a voter guide. So, there we go. All right, so we had everyone do this in ranked choice voting. And so people ranked their favorite choices. And so as you can see, for District 1 City Council, these are some of the results. So if a majority of people ranked them 1, it was blue. And if they ranked them 2nd, it was red. And then if they ranked them 3rd, it was orange. These are the results for City Council District 3. Carol Fife is on the left. Lynette McElhaney is on the right. Here are the results for District 5 City Council. Noel Gallo is first here. Richard Santos, Raya is here. And then Zoe Lopez Miraz is here. District 7 City Council, Marcy Hodge, Treva Reed, Marshawn Tatman. And let's take a look at the at-large candidates. On the left here, Derek Johnson. On the right, Rebecca Kaplan. Next, we'll look at School Board, District 1, Austin Danhouse, rank 1. Is on the left is blue, rank 2 is red. So Austin Danhouse is here and Sam Davis is here. School Board District 3, Maya Edgerly, here's number 1. Sharice Gash in the middle. Van Cedric Williams is on the right. District 5 School Board, Leroy Gaines, Mike Hutchinson, Sheila Pope Lawrence, Jorge Lerma. District 7, Christina Molina, Victor Valerio. And we will continue to monitor these results and share them out with you after Tuesday when the poll closes, and everyone will be able to hear what the youth believe are the candidates that they value and the candidates that they liked listening to today. With that being said, I'll pass it back to the MCs.
Thank you, Karina. We have gotten so much support from many youth-based organizations, and we just want to give a huge thank you to them. So they are CFJ, Youth Together, OKF, APAL, ACC, Oakland Promise, the Mayor's Office, Siren, Fly, etc. for helping us with outreach. Most importantly, we thank you for spending part of your Friday evening with us. Thank you to all of the background folks who helped us out, which were Christian and Esme for the technical assistance, Sochi and Alexis for making the voting polls, Barrett for the political outreach, Julia for planning the event, Harper and Lynn for the graphic design, and Sophie for timekeeping. And our wonderful adult ally, Karina, for helping us through the entire process. Before we end today, don't forget to follow our IG at OAKYAC OYAC and All City Council OUSD. And All City Council OUSD. Our social medias will be posted into the chat, or you should be able to see them right there. You can submit follow-up questions to candidates, and we will post their answers on our handles. All right, that concludes the joint event hosted by ACC and OYAC, Fighting for Our Future's Youth-Led Candidates Forum. We did it. Thank you all so much for joining us. Don't forget to vote. We will leave you with one last performance, and please enjoy this dance video made by Dublin's High School, Avani Bhangra. Bye.
हो नहीं सकता जट दे स्टार कोई खो नहीं सकता मापियां दे नाल दिली सांझ रखी आओ तेरा गड्डवा उसन सानू हो नहीं सकता
being on some chill shit we go 0 to 100 nigga real quick
तेरा रखे जे हो नहीं सकता जट दे स्टार कोई खो नहीं सकता मापियां दे नाल दिली सांझ रखी आओ तेरा गड्डवा उसन सानू हो नहीं सकता करता कदे नहीं बिलो जरता कदे नहीं सानू बाबे वालों कितनी पूरी कोट लाई
0 to 100 nigga real quick. I go 0 to 100 nigga real quick. I go 0 to 100 nigga real quick. Real quick. Real fucking quick, nigga.